Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podcast Period, the internet's worst podcast. My name is Ben, and with me today is my co-host, David.
What's up, guys?
And our new friend, Aaron from Effective Nerd.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
So we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, a little bit of updates from last episode, and, just a bunch of random crap that we like to talk about. So, I don't know if I want to start on the super heavy stuff yet. So let's talk about actually, what do you want to talk about, David? Bring one of your topics up.
Oh, so we're going to throw me under the bus today.
That's right.
Let's just do something light and easy. Something that Ben may or may not care about anymore because he somewhat ditched me on the Motorola train, but definitely at least still rides the Android train. At least my favorite company. I don't really know why anymore either because they've done some stupid stuff. Motorola's new quote-unquote flagship is launching sometime this year. They're going to continue their Z series. Right now it looks like it's just the regular Z4. I haven't seen anything on like a Player Edition or a Force Edition or a Droid Edition for those Verizon peeps out there. But they just got a couple
I'm sure
of
there's going to be one.
It. They looks like they downgraded the chipset a little bit, so I don't know how this pricing is going to work with this chipset they used. It's only supposed to be like $500, which is definitely below flagship, but they also really did some downgraded specs compared to the last one too. So I don't really know. They're going with the Snapdragon 675 with a 3600 milliamp hour battery. And I want to say it's like a 6.4 inch OLED, 6.39 inch, with a 19:9 aspect ratio, 2340 by 1080. So, I don't know. It seems like an odd screen size to go with. And then doing a 19:9. It's 6.5 inch, well, almost 6.5, like 6.4, but they're only doing 1080p. And a 19:9.
Oh,
so I don't know.
Interesting.
I haven't done the math on that, but PPI doesn't sound like it's going to be too great. I'm worried that's going to be grainy and stuff.
I don't know. We'll have to. I mean, maybe they've got something going on behind the scenes.
Maybe.
But I would think they would at least be able to up it to like 1440 or something like that.
But they're probably doing it to keep it down.
Yeah,
headphone jack lovers will love that they still kept the headphone jack. It's USB Type-C too.
Well, they took it off on the Z3, didn't they?
I think the Z3 didn't have it, but the Z3 Play did.
Oh, okay.
Like, I know the original Z and the Z2 did not, which is one of the reasons why I got the Z Play, because it did. But they kept it on this one. It's got 802.11ac Wi-Fi, and then like we were talking about earlier, it's not natively supporting 5G, but the Moto mod will allow it to have it. So
just like the Z3. Apparently, it's going to the Z2 Force too.
Is it though?
Yeah.
All right. So there's that. A little bit of Motorola people out there might like that. I doubt anybody cares.
You're the only person. You and that other dude that bought a Motorola that you somehow switched.
I forgot about
first
that
episode.
Oh, I can't believe that.
Why do you like Motorola over the other companies? I haven't actually followed them in a few years.
I think the biggest reason is the very, very clean builds of Android that they've had. Even with Lenovo taking them over. Because at one point, Google had bought them. And that was the biggest reason they had very clean builds of Android. But Lenovo hasn't really done much to change that. So I think that's the biggest reason. Because I'm not big. Of course, I haven't used one in a while. But I hated TouchWiz from Samsung. I didn't really like LG's skins either, and I refuse to go Apple. So that eliminates a lot of other things. So I've stuck with Motorola for like the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 of my phones now. It's kind of ridiculous.
That's cool though. I honestly don't know a whole lot about the company. I currently have a Pixel 2 XL.
Hey, so
go.
do I.
I like
Honestly, if it wasn't so expensive when my last phone messed up, I would have gotten a Pixel.
Yeah, it's definitely a little hefty in the wallet.
Yeah,
My previous phone,
it's well worth it though.
I had a Galaxy 7 Edge, and it caught on fire. I was one of those people.
Oh no!
Really? Are you really?
It wasn't even the Note. It was the Galaxy Edge.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
You just got extremely unlucky.
yeah. The charger completely melted into it.
Oh my goodness!
And there's like a burn mark on my table where I was charging it. It didn't actually like engulf in flames, but it essentially melted down, or at least the flames were gone by the time I got back to it. I was in the other room at the time.
My goodness! Jeez.
Yeah.
I'd never think I'd actually hear from somebody who had a melted Samsung before.
Yeah, it was crazy. I went to it was through Verizon, and I went to Verizon, and they like for only time in my life like treated me like royalty. Essentially, they're just like,
I should hope so. Jeez.
Yeah, that was a pretty brutal morning.
Oh, jeez. So what they do? Did they replace it with a different one, or what did you do with that?
Yeah, I was pretty cool about it just because they were I don't know, they were really cool about it. They were just like, yep, we're just going to replace it, whatever you want, let's just do it. And then they actually didn't have it, and I had to go to the mall like on the other side of town to get it. And then the manager there just kind of like threw it at me and was like, get the fuck out. I was like, okay.
Jeez.
I was like, did they tell you about me? Like, I'm not like disgruntled or anything.
Wow.
I just want a phone that's not melted.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not asking for much.
I mean, apparently, according to Samsung, it is, but you know.
Whatever.
Yeah, the Pixel 2 doesn't even get warm. But I like not on fire phones. They're great.
Yeah.
I
would imagine.
It seems like
phones
a thumbs
phones
up.
that don't catch on fire and phones that don't bend. Both really high on my priority list.
Dude, I was laughing so hard when I was listening to that. You're like, they folded in half, and then they got smaller, and then now they're folding in half again. That shit was so funny.
It's just the way the world works.
Which apparently they can't even do that correct.
Yeah, I actually am excited for the foldable phones if they can perfect it. One thing, being a blogger, is I need to like be able to write on the go, and like I have a little Bluetooth keyboard that I use alongside my phone, but like just to have a little more screen space if I'm at like a desk or a table where I can set it up real quick and get some writing done, I think it would come in handy. Because I almost wish I also carried a tablet with me other than just my phone. But yeah, I'm excited if they can get it working right, just because that'll help me productivity wise.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, it looks cool. It's an interesting premise. It just depends on whether they can get their crap together as far as that goes.
Yeah, that wasn't a good first run there.
No. Okay. So what did you bring for us this fine evening, Aaron?
Well, the first thing I wanted to ask you, because I've listened to previous episodes and you guys talk about computers and tech a lot. I wanted to know what the first builds of your computer were, whether it be like the one you had as a child or one that you've built yourself, or both.
Okay. I'll go through. I mean, I've already talked about the one that I've built. This is the only one that I've built so far, at least for my personal use. But the first computer I think that I ever used, and I can't even like remember the specs or anything, but it ran on Windows ME. It was like my parents' like first computer, and it was. I mean, I didn't really know what was going on. I just remembered that it played like the hamster dance a lot.
Yeah,
but.
Yeah, my parents had an ME computer. It was the worst.
Oh yeah, God, no. We upgraded to XP, I think, pretty soon after that, and that was XP, man. Oof, that's a nostalgia trip.
Oh yeah.
And there's no way anybody's gonna ever like. You can't top XP, honestly.
I still want some 3D Space Cadet pinball.
You can still install that.
Can you?
Yeah, I think you can like download it from Microsoft and install it on your computer, like legit.
I'm gonna have to do that.
I'm pretty sure I had it at one point on this computer.
Oh, I didn't know they'd let you do that. All right, what's the next thing that you remember?
After that one, crap the bed. It was a Windows 7 PC. And then I got my own laptop after that was running Windows 8. I think I've experienced, like, up from, like, Windows ME, I'm pretty sure I've experienced every build of Windows that's come out. Because I had ME, I had XP, my mom had a Windows Vista laptop that I used every once in a while. And then they had a Windows 7 PC. And then I bought my own laptop that was running Windows 8. And then when I built my computer, that was on Windows 10. So I've gone through like everything.
Oh, jeez.
What about you, David?
It's so many. I don't know the specs on any of this stuff. But my grandfather had given us. It was an old Gateway. I don't even remember what it was. But it ran like Windows. I can't remember if that one ran Windows 95 and then the next one ran 98, or if both had 98.
Gateway sounds like it could be either or.
It could be either or. I feel like there was one that did 95 that maybe he kept.
And I loved 98 too. That was my favorite up until XP.
98 wasn't bad at all. I really liked it too. And then it was some compact Walmart thing that we had bought that ran Windows XP.
Yep.
And then we got another. I think it was another. No, this one was the Dell. No, it wasn't a Dell. It was an HP. It was an HP. That's what it was. That one ran Windows 7, which was almost the same one as what your parents had until we discovered the motherboards must have been different because of the DRAM issue. And then it was my grandmother's laptop, which ran 7, and then I installed 10, which was my main computer up until I built this one, which has gone through too many iterations at this time. Started with the 6500, i5 6500. Ben had given me his old 6600K because he got the 7700K. So he switched processors once. And then I built my mom and dad a new computer which used my old 6500. And then I upgraded to a Ryzen 7 1700X. Which means my 6600K went back to Ben. That's the one you did the media PC in, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we've literally like hopscotched over each other in terms of who's had a better PC, like CPU versus internet versus everything else, back and forth, because we just keep trading hardware back and forth and spending more and more money. It's turned into a giant rabbit hole.
Yeah. It's almost something that I wish I'd never looked into for how much money it's costed me.
Yeah, that happens with computer parts.
They're not cheap.
Oh,
No,
definitely.
God, no.
But hey, at least we've both kept the most expensive part of our builds, being the graphics cards.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say the case.
That
Oh,
too,
God,
we
no.
both did keep the case.
Yeah.
That's the
I
only
haven't-
thing that
I-
hasn't changed. Is
I
my
do
case.
want to upgrade the case eventually, but I mean it's a nice case for $100. I can't complain. That graphics card was about like 4 or 5 times more than that, but you know.
Hey, but the 1070 is not bad.
No.
And then I've got a 1060. And then we both got the Define R4s, which could use an upgrade at this point, but I really don't see a reason why. Especially since mine's hidden away.
The only reason I'd want to upgrade it is for like tempered glass, because I'm pretty sure this side window is just plastic.
It is. It's gotta be.
But for $100 again, not bad.
It worked.
Anyway, what about you, Aaron? What did you start on?
So, my dad, when I was very little, ran a bulletin board system out of our house.
Whoo!
So there's like this little computer that ran DOS, and then a piece of plywood with like 20 modems screwed into it. And then people paid him monthly to log on to his server until AOL got popular. So my problem was I had a computer that ran DOS, but I didn't know how to read, so I couldn't use the computer. So that was a big setback. Eventually, my dad built me a computer out of spare parts that ran Windows 3.1, and it was crazy. It was like 256 megs of RAM kind of thing. I had a 4 gigabyte external hard drive, and I thought I was the shit. The CD drive was a CD player that we had just wired into the computer. It had a floppy disk drive, a black and white monitor. It's really crazy thing. And then I ran that until like games wouldn't run in black and white anymore. Is when I upgraded to that. And then my parents got an E-machines that ran Windows Millennium, and it sucked. And we had that for a while. My parents also had web TV for a while, which was really weird. That was a weird product. And then I got a laptop, and then up until a few months ago when it died, I was running a Dell Optiplex that I just like got from I think my mom bought it off of someone on Craigslist, and then I bought it off of her. And that ran pretty well up until, like, video game wise, it ran up until about Modern Warfare 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then it couldn't play anything more recent after that. And that's kind of how I got into indie games, was I could only play games that my half gig video card could run. So I started playing a lot of like Binding of Isaac and a lot of like low graphics roguelikes and indie games. And that's kind of how I developed my love for indie gaming in general.
That's the way to do it. Honestly. That's kind of where I was at with my old laptop. It wasn't like the best thing, and I paid a good hunk of money for it too, like $500-600, and it wasn't fantastic, but it did its job. Okay, so since I've been beating around the bush kind of this entire episode with this, I don't know if you've heard about this, Aaron, and I know nobody's heard about it from us since the last episode hasn't come out yet. But have you heard about the stuff that's going on with a YouTuber called Pro Jared?
Videos about it have been popping up in my news feed, but I'm not familiar with those YouTubers. Does that have something to do with what's to do with like the goatee that has like everyone makes the gifs about him?
I don't know. It's not ringing any bells off the. It's not hitting me.
Well, anyways, I know of it. I don't know anything about it. I just see like other YouTubers talking about it.
So I'll do a quick recap for you and everybody listening.
Oh, you're in
and
for
then I'll
a
get
treat.
into the updates. So without getting too deep into what's already happened, basically what happened was like I want to say like a month ago. Pro Jared, this video game YouTuber, he tweeted out that he and his wife Heidi were getting a divorce, which in and of itself isn't really like all that big of a deal. You see these sort of joint statements on Twitter all the time, but the thing is, you go to his wife's Twitter page, and apparently right before he tweeted this thing out, he had blocked her.
What?
And come to find out that he'd been like gaslighting her and emotionally abusing her pretty much at least the last couple of years in their marriage.
Okay.
And beyond that, which we'll get into this a little bit more later too, beyond that, he had also been soliciting nudes from his fans, some of which allegedly were minors at the time. So he's been into some he's not doing too great. I checked last night, his YouTube subscriber count was almost at 1.1 million before this whole debacle happened, and it's now down to like 750K. So he's lost.
Damn, that's a bump.
Yeah, he's lost like 500, almost 500,000 subscribers in a month.
Oh,
from this.
Ouch.
So anyway, all this to say, we kind of ended on that story last time with that nobody besides Heidi had really given any updates to it, and then finally, Jared, the mistress in this whole situation, and his wife Heidi all made like these statements about the whole thing. So I'm going to start with Jared's. Probably not going to read the whole thing since it's like extremely long, but we'll see. So it starts with, I am deeply sorry to anybody who's seen the accusations, vitriol, or unwanted photos that my former partner Heidi and others have been posting since last Wednesday, May 8th, 2019. The truth is that Heidi and my marriage has been in a bad place for some time. I never wanted any of those details to become public for both Heidi and my mental well-being. But they have, and the accusations being made must now be addressed. A few years ago, Heidi asked me if we could be in an open, polyamorous relationship. I recognize now that this request and my willingness to go along with it was an unhealthy attempt to solve deeper issues that had developed within our marriage. Heidi has taken several casual partners and has been in a more serious relationship with another partner since 2017. Whether done to make her own actions feel justified or because she genuinely believed it would help me build self-esteem, Heidi suggested I also engage with other women. Heidi encouraged me to tell Holly, the mistress, that I was developing feelings for her. When I did, things changed with Heidi. She became angry and vindictive and did not want me to see or speak with Holly anymore. She called me a cheater and claimed that I was destroying our marriage because of my affair, even though she continued to have other relationships with other partners. I never wanted to destroy our marriage, and I spent months after that doing what I could to repair it through couples therapy and extensive individual therapy. Those close to me have witnessed Heidi's behavior towards me on many occasions and have begged me to leave for some time. I was many things during this time, including embarrassed, scared, and broken, but I was never the abuser. I made several attempts to leave starting in October 2018, but each time she refused to let it happen, threatening to destroy my career and to harm others if I left. So he goes on and talks about how it should have remained a private matter, blah, 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 blah. Basically a bunch of gaslighting BS, but... So yeah, that's his statement. The only thing really gained from this is that apparently Heidi was the one that wanted to start this polyamorous relationship that they'd eventually found themselves in. Something which Heidi neglected to mention in her first statement. But I don't know. I don't think anybody's really in the right in this situation, but Jared is definitely not right. He's kind of a scumbag. I really am done with him.
You a fan of his before?
I was, yeah. I mean, not so much like when this all started happening, but I was like just a casual fan. I watched his videos from time to time when they popped up.
Good.
So then there is a statement from Holly. It's got a bunch of stuff about how she was trying to help her Jared get out of the relationship, blah, blah, blah. I'm not really going to go into detail with her statement because it's just very lengthy and it's a bunch of stuff that's taken out of context.
But did she acknowledge that she's the one that suggested they go into this open relationship? Or is that another lie on Jared's part?
This is Holly that I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure Heidi does acknowledge that, yes, she was the one that wanted to start it. Yeah, Holly's the mistress. Gotcha. Yeah. So anyway, it's a bunch of stuff taken out of context by her, so I'm not really going to go into it, but it's just very, very long. But she did make a statement, and really all she didn't address really anything as far as like the nude situation goes, except to say that before going forward, I want to make it clear that I do not approve of any influencer exchanging nudes with fans. This behavior is an abuse of power, and that is never okay. Per Jared made poor decisions. I would say that constitutes a little bit more than just poor decisions.
This is Holly.
But that's just me. Yes, this is
so
Holly.
Holly's acknowledging the nudes.
Yes.
Okay.
Only acknowledging, though. She's not really... I mean, she's not really one to be in it anyway, but, you know, it's just... I don't know. It doesn't seem right that she would just kind of bring it up and then leave it be like that. Anyway, let's see. So Heidi responds to the gigantic Twitter thread that Holly posted. Heidi says, okay, Holly's Twitter thread is full of lies. She's exaggerating, twisting details, and taking Jared's word on a lot of stuff and running with it. But most importantly, the heart of her argument is, I was just helping my friend leave his awful wife by having sex with him. Anyway, yeah, that's the gist of what she went through. She explained kind of some of the stuff that Holly took out of context. Like there was a couple Facebook posts that she did that were like, she was basically, Heidi was making light of the situation and on her personal Facebook page, but considering the situation that she found herself in, I would kind of say that that's understandable, kind of trying to like deal with this whole crappy situation with a little bit of humor, especially on her personal Facebook page, you know. Just seems a little bit ridiculous that Holly would bring that up. But anyway, yeah. That's it. That's all I've got to say on this situation, unless something else comes out. Pro Jared's still a piece of crap, and Holly's still a piece of crap, and Heidi's kind of a little bit of a piece of crap because she didn't bring up the polyamory thing, but nobody's blameless in this situation. And
so
I'm not talking about it.
She did or she didn't acknowledge it?
She acknowledged it. Okay. She said that Jared was correct in that she had... she was talking to people, but she never actually like went out and pursued a relationship with anybody. Like she just messaged somebody long distance, and that's basically where it stayed. And she ended it once she didn't feel comfortable with what Jared was doing with Holly.
So nobody's blameless, and the whole thing is just one giant cluster.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
It's FUBAR.
It's I feel
So
like
glad I didn't get into that.
I feel like there's always some YouTube scandal that's popping up like this. I feel like there's been a lot in the past few years.
Yeah, there's this. There's literally the day afterward. There's a James Charles thing, and there's probably going to be a bajillion more after this too. It's exhausting keeping up with everything. It's the reason why I don't. When I see stuff like this, I try not to care. But I was a casual fan of this guy at one point, and it kind of just sucked me in. And now I've got like a migraine from him.
Well, I'm pretty sure if there was a YouTuber that... Well, there was one YouTuber that I liked the channel of that ended up being somewhat of a pedophile, so... There was that. But if any of the current YouTubers I watched got into something like that, I probably wouldn't be able to stay out of it. But all the other crap that goes on, I don't care about these people. I stay all out of that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Who was the one that you liked that turned out to be a pedophile?
There was a Canadian channel. This guy named it David's Farm. His name was David Rock.
Uh-huh.
And it was like a YouTube automotive type channel. Like, it did a bunch of crazy stuff. Like,
okay.
It was really fun. And there was nothing, let's say, wrong in the videos. But there was allegations of pornography and other things involved at this farm where these videos were made involving minor children, and I want to say he was convicted on something along those lines. So this was like 5-7 years ago, something like that. It's been a while. I'd almost forgot about it when I was naming YouTubers that I watched whatever episode that was on. But now that you were saying this Pro Jared thing, it's like, oh wait, there is somebody that I used to watch that ended up in a lot of hot water.
Oh boy. Okay. What do you got next there, David?
Oh, let's speak to the AMD overlords. Long live AMD. They are slowly chipping away Intel's, albeit probably almighty lead that will never be taken, because they've got so much CPU share now and market share now that it'd probably take 10 years of this nonsense before they were dethroned. But AMD's taking a long look ahead, and maybe they'll be successful at it. But Computex was this week, and they finally announced some details on their Ryzen 3000 series CPUs. So I wanted to take a look at a little bit of that, just because, why not? And also their new chipsets as well, because that one's actually kind of interesting. So there's supposedly supposed to be a 16-core processor out there that they haven't officially announced, but it is confirmed. Or at least that's what a lot of the tech outlets are trying to say. Even Steve from Gamer Nexus says it's confirmed, so somebody out there's got some pretty credible information that this hasn't died yet, but AMD didn't say anything about it yet, but they still have E3. But they announced the Ryzen 5 3600, the Ryzen 5 3600X, the 7 3700X, the 7 3800X, and then a new Ryzen 9 3900X, which is a 12-core, 24-thread CPU. Base of 3.8 gigahertz and a boost of 4.6 gigahertz for only $500, which some people might say is really hefty. But considering that is probably about the same price as a 9900K, that's only an 8-core, 16-thread CPU. If this beats it in performance, well, hey, there you go. Won't know until people actually validate.
Yeah.
But even if that's a bit much, and it might be a bit much, their 3700X is only supposed to be $329. And it's only a 65 watt TDP chip, which means you won't need much for cooling on that thing. It'll go nicely with a lot of lower end motherboards that don't need the top of the line cooling and VRMs and all that stuff. So we'll see. It was an interesting
$484 for the i9 9900K.
We'll see what their 10 core cost if they ever get that out, because they're supposedly doing that later this year.
Yeah, don't hold your breath.
But the really interesting one, besides that, was these new motherboards that they're coming out with, because it's been a while since they've had active cooling on the chipsets. But it looks like the 570 chipset, because of their upgrade to PCIe Express 4, they're going to be needing active cooling on these things, which is going to be, I think, disgustingly either ugly or loud. I'm hoping it's not loud. Or both. It might be both. Because they're only supposed to be like tiny little 45 millimeter fans, which I think is ugly.
And maybe if they're Noctua fans or something, they could get the noise down. But I don't know.
They might.
I don't have high hopes for it.
but they're running like 11 watts out of this chip, which is almost as much as like a little Chromebook chip. Like one of Intel's U series chips that only runs like 15 watts.
That's insane.
So they're basically pulling what a freaking full size mobile chip from, not full size, but U series chip from Intel can use in a full size laptop if they wanted it to, just to run the motherboard.
That's insane.
It's ridiculous. So there's that.
All hail our AMD
overlords.
Today's episode of Podcast Period is sponsored by, well, you. We've recently started a Patreon to help offset some of the costs of running the podcast, and you can be a part of it for as little as $1 a month. We have an exclusive Discord server, community events, a Minecraft server, and you can access episodes early as well. If you want to help out the show by throwing some money our way, just head to patreon.com/podcastperiod. Again, that's patreon.com/podcastperiod. Now back to the show.
I don't know a lot about the AMD products, but they were in my stock portfolio for the past few years, and I made a killing off of them. Their stock price has doubled over the past few years.
Yeah, Ryzen has helped them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say
on the verge of bankruptcy.
I want to say I bought at $12 a share, and I sold for, I want to say $22 or $23 a share.
There you go.
It was a pretty good investment.
It's crazy.
Do you guys invest at all?
Not as much as I probably should.
Yeah, I don't have any Intel or AMD stocks, but what stocks I did had took a beating over the last 2 weeks, so I wasn't too happy about that.
I feel like the whole market's been down recently, especially with all the talk about trade tariffs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Have been
my company's CEO gave it very interesting, let's call it lawyer talk. Unexpected price cost, blah 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 blah. It's like you sucked and you just don't want to admit it. That's why the stock tanked 17% in one day after an earnings call.
Yeah, let's say you gotta love the earnings calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mostly been investing in marijuana because as it's becoming legal, like all these companies are growing and popping up, and it's been pretty good investment so far.
That's a smart idea. I should do that.
I want to know who started the vape train, because they have to be making a killing by now.
I think it's Juul.
Whoever it was,
I
can't imagine how much money that makes now.
I think Juul I was reading the other day, has like a very large market share in the entire tobacco space, which was crazy because no one thought that, anything would ever beat cigarettes.
Yeah, I know. A few, I remember when those e-cigarette commercials were first starting to come out, and it's insane how popular they've become. I mean, vaping and e-cigarettes not really the same thing, but it's pretty close.
I haven't had any nicotine in the better part of a year, but I smoked for 10 years, and then I vaped for like 3 or 4 years, and then completely stopped about a year ago.
Nice.
Yeah, the vape, like the computer part habit, the vaping habit of buying all the parts and everything, and this has this chipset, this one has this chipset, crazy, but
perfect analogy.
Yeah. I mostly like vape builds that were like good on the go, like mostly for the car and stuff. I was never too crazy about like having the most powerful or whatever. I mostly wanted reliable stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was
PCs and car parts. That's where all my money goes. That's where I get in trouble. I don't have money for a habit because that takes up enough money to be a habit.
You already have a habit.
I couldn't afford tobacco or anything else if I wanted to.
All right, Aaron. What else did you bring us?
Yeah. So, have you guys ever wondered what it would look like if Mandy Moore got attacked by sharks? Maybe like 130 or something feet under the water.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was over at Anthony's house last night, and that's the movie that we watched. Like, no joke. I had seen it before, but he hadn't seen it, so I watched it again.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it both times, actually. I mean, it's not like a perfect movie or anything, but considering what it was, I enjoyed it.
I never seen it.
It's on Netflix.
I'll have to check it out.
It.
Yeah, I was talking to Anthony today.
Really?
You guys were watching that last night.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense now.
Yeah,
I was like, man, what a coincidence.
That was the intended effect.
But yeah, it's supposed to be that. What was that? A Netflix movie?
No, it wasn't. I think it was a movie in theaters, but it's on Netflix now. It's called 47 Meters Down.
I thought Netflix had released it. Maybe not.
No, I mean, not as far as I know, anyway. Because I first watched it on Amazon. I rented it on there, like right when it came out for rental.
I've never seen it.
It's good. You should watch it.
Is it supposed to be like is this like a Jaws thing or?
Kind of. It's like it's. I wouldn't call it like a horror movie per se. That's technically what it's labeled as on Netflix, but it's more of like a thriller movie. It's got a lot of jump scares in it,
Gotcha.
Because it's a shark movie, and what else can you do with sharks? But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Looking now, it did have wide release June of 2017.
Yep.
Oh, so it's been about 2 years.
Yeah.
Budget of $5.5 million, and it made 44. I don't know. I saw Mandy Moore in something recently. I can't remember what it was. Maybe I was rewatching Scrubs or something.
Maybe you were watching This Is Us.
I haven't seen that show. I know a lot of people talk about it.
It's good.
Do you guys watch a lot of TV?
I don't watch it as much anymore. I mean, I definitely not live TV. I mostly watch everything on like Hulu if there's something that I want to watch. But There's like maybe 4 or 5 shows that I keep up with at this point. Everything else that I watch is on YouTube.
Yeah. My wife and I watch a lot of YouTube as well, but we also do Sling and Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've been wanting to look into Sling. I got YouTube TV like right when it came out, but it got a little bit too expensive, so I had to cancel it.
I wanted to switch over to YouTube TV, but it was too expensive because I do YouTube Red, and which that's a great deal, especially since you get Google Music with it, so you can cancel Spotify and save some money.
Mm-hmm.
See, he gets it.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to do that.
Well, I love
The
YouTube.
only-
I'm probably pretty basic with my YouTube taste. Like, we watch a lot of like Fine Brothers and like Good Mythical Morning and stuff like that. I'm really
There's no problem with a little bit of Fine Brothers and a
I
little
used to
bit
watch
of
them
Red and Link.
all the time, but
I
lately I haven't.
I catch them when they're in my recommended, but that's about it.
That's about it.
I go through phases. I'm a big Five Nights at Freddy's guy, so I watch a lot of like Taco and stuff like that.
The new Five Nights at Freddy's game just came out, the VR one, I think.
I've been watching a bunch of the YouTubers got pre-release videos of it, and they've slowly been beating it every day. But like, you know, the developer is always up to something. So I have a feeling that there wasn't really a big finale ending that anyone has found yet. So I feel like there's still a lot of secrets, which
There probably is.
that's why I like that series so much, is because there's always secrets to be found, like even in the coding of his website, or like the image attributes on his website, or weird cryptic forum posts. It's just all over the place. I like that he has like a multimedia approach to telling the story in this game. So I think that's a really creative concept.
It's insane considering how the game started. It's just like this experiment because he got terrible reviews on his mobile app game.
Chipper and Son Lumber Company.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. It just turned into this like massive thing.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah. I think it's crazy. Blumhouse is doing the movie now. It looks like.
I didn't even know there was going to be a movie. Goodness.
In and out of development for a few years. I know at one point I believe they were using Jim Henson's like Monster Factory or whatever that's called to make practical animatronics. And then
That'd be cool.
I want to say it was with Sony at one point, and then they dropped it, and then Blumhouse picked it up. And one of the issues is Scott Cawthon keeps rewriting the script over and over because he wants it to be perfect. And I guess they're kind of stuck there until they're getting a script approved.
Okay.
Like,
I'll have to catch that when and if that ever comes out.
yeah, right? I'm like, I'm going to be like 45 when that comes out.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Let's see. I've got a couple more things that we can talk about. So, Marvel, Avengers Endgame just came out, and actually our podcast on Avengers Endgame came out last week. So this is kind of perfect timing, at least as far as our podcast is concerned. Not really any details on it yet, but there is going to be a Marvel Avengers video game made by, who is it? It's Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal. Crystal Dynamics is actually the people that made the latest Tomb Raider games, like Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and whatever the other one was.
Rise.
Yeah, Rise of the Tomb Raider. There you go.
Makes sense. Eidos made the originals, right?
Eidos. It was Silicon somebody that made the original, and then they got bought out by Eidos. And then Crystal Dynamics took over for Tomb Raider. It's been through 3 developers at this point. And then Eidos Montreal is Deus Ex. I think they've been Deus Ex all the way through, as far as I know.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
some pretty big developers.
Yeah, no actual like details on it yet, except for like obviously who's making it, and then they've got this like little teaser tagline. It says, "This is the defining Avengers gaming experience, an epic action adventure that combines cinematic storytelling with continuous single-play and cooperative gameplay. Assemble in teams of up to 4 players, master extraordinary abilities, customize your heroes to fit your playstyle, and combine powers to defend over an ever-expanding world under constant threat." That sounds like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance video games. I loved to play those when they came out.
That does sound similar.
Did you ever play those, David, when they came out? The Ultimate Alliance ones?
You know the extent of my gaming before this PC is all Xbox.
This is a good point. Yeah, you basically played only GTA.
Need for Speed, GTA, and you know what? That's probably it. A lot of racing stuff.
You didn't even play a first-person shooter until you built that PC, pretty much.
Well, I mean, I did play a little bit of Call of Duty and a little bit of Halo with friends when I was younger, but I never owned the games, and I never owned a first-person shooter up until the PC, anyways. So, no. That's why I was so terrible at it.
Yeah, I know.
That's why it's only taken about 600 hours of PUBG to even become competent at something.
First-person shooters take a while to get used to. I had the hardest time playing with a controller because growing up I played on computers, but I was playing games where you really couldn't look up and down, like Wolfenstein 3D or Doom. And then games started coming out for console, like PS2, and you had to use the joysticks to aim, and I was just garbage with that because I was so used to mouse and keyboard. But now I'm like
I think the best example between me and Ben is Gears of War. Because when I first started playing that, he was using mouse and keyboard, and I was using controller, and he's like, "How can you use a controller with this?" Like, that's all I've ever used. Get used to it.
I didn't understand. I mean, it's basically, it's third-person shooter, but it's still a shooter. I can't play games anymore like that with a controller. The only one that I play like that is GTA 5.
It's hard to do. I don't think you can do it with mouse. I've tried. I suck at it.
There's too many buttons with GTA 5 that you have to remember for mouse and keyboard. It's very intuitive when it comes to the controller controls, but keyboard not so much.
Speaking of first-person shooters, I've been playing a game called Paranautical Activity. Are you guys familiar with that game?
Oh, I think I heard of that. Yeah. What is that about?
It's like it's voxel graphics like Minecraft, but it is a dungeon crawler roguelike first-person shooter where you're in I want to say you're in some sort of underwater, like, I don't know if it's a giant submarine or if it's an underwater like facility, but it's essentially an underwater lab with like demons in it. So it's almost like if you mix like Doom with the Navy.
Oh, that's cool.
And it has a lot of really weird stuff to it, and it's completely randomly generated or procedurally generated, so it's different every time, and just has that really good roguelike feel.
Okay, cool. Me and David played. I don't think we really played it much after like the first night that we played it. But there was a game called Rico, where you could play it with a friend in co-op, and basically you were like these detectives that like just busted into like different buildings, and you were performing drug busts. It was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
It was awesome. What, it was for PC?
Yeah. I can't remember how much it was, but it's basically the same concept where it's like randomly generated, and you've got different objectives to complete each time, and there's different amounts of objectives and different, it's different every time, but it's got like this pretty interesting like not film noir aesthetic, but it's like the dirty, slimy 80s cops movies. It's kind of what it's going for.
That sounds great.
The only thing I didn't like
was
about
pretty
it is
fun.
you could not retry anything, so because it was different every time, you had to get it right the first time. Otherwise, you failed. You failed. There was no repeats.
Yeah.
My wife and I are.
You could get your teammate up like once, and then after they died the second time, you were out.
Brutal. My wife and I are almost done. We almost beat Cuphead. We're on the second to last boss, and that is brutal. Just getting your ass kicked to 1930s Disney graphics.
Cuphead is one of those games where I'm not sure if I would like play it past the first level if I bought it. It's the only thing stopping me from buying it. I have no problem with hard games, but I get frustrated sometimes a little bit too easily.
One of you two plays a lot of Dark Souls, yes? Or
no. We tried playing Dark Souls, and neither of us was very good at it.
Yeah.
Which one was that one?
That was it was a video on my channel. It was like the Bean Boozled challenge that we did.
I know, but which video game?
Disgusting.
Was
it was Dark Souls. I
know,
remember.
but I can't remember. What's the gameplay?
It's like third person. You're just going around and trying to get places, but you die really, really easily.
Gothic medieval kind of theme.
Oh, that one. Gotcha.
The one that you didn't like.
Well, I don't know what made that worse. That or the fact that we did it with the damn Bean Boozled challenge.
Bean Boozled.
Yeah, that was.
You get like
disgusting.
The skunk one.
It's like those nasty Harry Potter jelly beans.
Dude, the dog food one. Just even smelling that one.
Stop! I'm gonna just thinking about it.
I don't know if they had the dog food one in there when we did it, but they had the barf one, and I think that's what got both of us.
That's so gnarly.
It was.
You guys get it like Five Below?
I think I just got it on Amazon.
We got this other one at Five Below that instead of eating a jelly bean, you have to scratch and sniff this card, and it's just really disgusting stuff. There's like 50 cards that you scratch and sniff, and you have to guess what it is. But some of them are like moldy cheese and stuff. Ridiculous.
That sounds. I don't know if that's worse than actually tasting it, but it's probably pretty close.
Yeah, it's all the same general area.
It's disgusting.
If it's strong enough, I can taste it as I'm smelling it. Then it's a definite no.
Yeah.
Have you guys done any of the spicy food challenges?
We did a hot sauce challenge.
Yeah, we did do that. That was with Super Meat Boy. I like Super Meat Boy a lot better than I did Dark Souls.
Was it Edmund McMillan is the creator? I love Binding of Isaac. It's probably my all-time favorite video game.
That's one that I need to get into. I've never really been like super heavy into like the roguelikes like that, but that's something that I want to get into.
One's cool because it has like body horror aspects to it. I like that every item you pick up like distorts your body a certain way, so the better you play, the more body horror the game has. So it's kind of a weird dynamic when you think about it like that. It's like you beat the game, but you're completely mutilated and disfigured.
The more you play, the more disgusting you look.
Oh, it's crazy. I thought that was brilliant.
It's like the complete opposite of how video games normally work.
Yeah.
That actually sounds cool. I'll have to. I know it's been pretty cheap. I just need to like pull the trigger and pick it up one day.
That's fun. It's like it doesn't get good until you beat the game 10 times, because then it unlocks like the rest of the game. But after like,
oh geez, God, that's gonna take me forever.
Yeah, the initial learning curve is a little bit, but after you do that, you're good to go. There's a lot of different ways to beat the game, so it's fun finding new ways to do it. So what hot sauce did you use with Super Meat Boy?
It was just Frank's Red Hot. Nothing super crazy. But we took like It wasn't a whole shot glass, but it was like half of a shot glass or something like that.
It was enough.
Yeah, it was a lot. It wasn't like we were doing a couple drops. We drank it, and I think I choked at one point.
I'm pretty sure you did. I was actually surprisingly a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Every time you died or beat a level, or
it was every time we died. Eventually we did it where we would die, and then we would just try to complete the level so that we didn't die on the same level over and over again. But it wasn't fun either way.
No, because I'm pretty sure at some point we realized we're going to have this whole bottle of hot sauce before we get past like level 5 gone.
Yeah.
So we was like, all right, we're going to slow down. We finished like, I don't know, at least a good quarter of it, maybe a third of that bottle.
Yeah, it was a lot.
That's a stomachache waiting to happen.
We got super lucky. I think we both did it on empty stomachs, and we were like completely fine.
Didn't we have pizza?
Yeah, we had pizza
after the fact.
Yeah,
I was expecting to hurt myself later that night.
That's actually how
nothing was bad.
Sorry,
it was gross. I'm never doing it again.
My wife and I eat ghost peppers regularly. It started off as doing the ghost pepper challenge, but then we liked it and we kept ramping it up and ramping it up and ramping it up. So now, like, we have a shelf in our kitchen that's all super spicy stuff. The hottest thing we have is the world's hottest chocolate, which I believe is 9 million Scoville. So that's like almost 5 times hotter than Carolina Reaper. And that's
I couldn't do that.
That's pretty insane. But my friends joke that it like ruined hot food for me, because now I'll go to a restaurant and I'll get the hottest thing they have, where it says like on the menu there's like teardrops in it, and then it's fine. I don't even sweat it. So now I got to try to get my tolerance down.
See, that's it's not what I'm afraid of with trying more spicy stuff, because I do enjoy eating spicy foods, but I don't really want it to get to the point where I can't enjoy anything spicy if I don't want to like cook it myself.
It's good. I can't get to that. I'm like chasing the dragon. I just can't get to that like semi hallucinogenic level of like. No, it's still.
You'll have to start bringing in your own hot sauce or something.
Yeah, the fiery hot Chex Mix still blows my mind though. I don't understand it. It's like the only.
They had a fiery hot Chex Mix.
I didn't even know they made that. That doesn't. I don't know. I don't know if I would do that.
That's pretty good to me.
I'm all about the Muddy Buddies. Those are delicious.
The deck.
The what?
You don't know what the Muddy Buddies are?
No, what the heck are those?
It's like chocolate covered Chex Mix.
Never heard of that. I've heard of Nutty Buddies, which those things are disgusting.
Oh, wow. You're disgusting.
Well, okay, so go back to kindergarten, and you remember how they do, like, did they ever do snack days when you went to school?
I mean, they had snacks, yeah, sure.
Well, anyway, okay, so we had different snack day. I don't know if it was like every day of the week or something like that. Anyway, so it was somebody else's turn every day. So every time it got to my turn, my mom would get those dang Nutty Buddies. So I just got sick of them, and I've never eaten one since. I don't like them.
I could see that. Yeah, I didn't eat them as much as probably you did. Apparently, I got them like every once in a while, and I still like them. They're good.
Yeah. I think when they're forced upon you time after time, you get sick of it.
Yeah, that's the reason why I can't eat like ham sandwiches anymore, because I had that like literally every day throughout high school. It was gross.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
One time in I want to say it was first grade, it was my turn to bring snack for the day, and my parents gave me, it was just a bag of Twizzlers. And there like wasn't enough for everyone.
Oh,
walking around just ripping off pieces of Twizzler.
I was going to say.
And then I get,
You had to condense them into the little strings.
so that's the thing. I'm ripping them off, and then I get to like the third to the last kid, and then he looks at me. He's like, these are pull and peel, right? So this whole time I could have just been peeling them, and I was ripping them in half.
Well,
I was a smart kid.
you live and you learn, right?
So yeah, that was age 9.
That's always how the smart kids are. They're dickheads. Okay. I don't even remember where this conversation started at. We went through so many different facets.
Where were we?
What?
I forgot.
No, Aaron brought up the 47 meters down, and then we got all the way.
Oh, okay.
Freaking Twizzlers.
Yes. Wow. Talk about going down the rabbit hole.
Okay. Well, we're at an hour 10, so I think we're gonna go ahead and leave it off there for this week.
Right.
Because I know David's got to get up a little bit early tomorrow. Anyway, this has been Podcast Period, the internet's worst podcast. Where can people find you at, Aaron?
I am at Effective Nerd, effective with the E, on every social media platform. You can go to effectivenerd.com, where I run a website where I review comic books. I do interviews with independent creators. I do gaming reviews. I interview game developers. Just if you're a creative person and you want to learn how to be more creative or more productive, or you want to support other indie creators, head over to Effective Nerd. I got you covered. Hit me up on social media. I love talking, meeting new people.
Boom. There you go. If you don't visit the website, I'll kill you. Anyway. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Next week. We record 2 weeks apart. I'm stupid. Bye. Bye. Podcast Period is hosted and edited by me, Ben, and co-hosted by David. Aaron from Effective Nerd was our guest this episode. You can find him everywhere at Effective Nerd and at effectivenerd.com. You can find Ben on Twitter at BenPlaysVidjus. That's Ben Plays VIDYAS. You can find David on Twitter at Car6516. You can contact the show on Twitter at Podcast Period or email us at podcastperiod@gmail.com. That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening.